applications of AI, yes, we do. We can have some predictive modeling using some ML, some machine learning techniques. But for that, we need to have loads of pre-existing data set to be able to use that pre-existing data set so that the machine can make a model out of it, learn from that pre-existing data set, build a model on it, and then we can feed some dummy data to predict what can happen. But so far in the work that we have been doing so far, there's a dearth of data, especially when it comes to development sector, social sector. That is why the scope of AI or ML in social development sector is limited so far, particularly in India.
But we are rapidly going towards machine learning now.
Yeah.
Let me give you a very, very simplistic example. What we showed you yesterday, right, that rural quality of life index, right? One of the things which we were planning on doing and which we were trying is different iterations. Like, for example, your ranking is something, say 543 out of 707, and this is how you have ranked across the 9 sectors, right? And within that, you can do different iterations that within this sector there are 10 different indicators, out of which you have not done very well in these 3 indicators. So if I bring this indicator value, which is 4%, if I can bring it to 5%, what does my overall standing change? Now this is a very iterative model, and which is something you change a little bit and see the change there. You change this a little bit, see the overall change. You bring this down a little bit, you see the overall change. This is being done through machine learning now. This is something which we are planning on doing.
And it's the next phase of what we're going to attempt.
That, you know, somebody using this rural quality of life index can also use it as a predictor model by saying,
so it'd be like a simulator.
A district administrator might think that, you know, I can't change everything. I don't have so much of money, but I have a little finite amount. I have this much amount of money for which I can do 2-3 different things. Now, which are the 2-3 different things that I need to change, which will affect my overall outcome the most, right? So this is all being essentially done through machine learning, right? In fact, the entire model is based on an iterative machine learning. So that has to, but like she said, I totally agree that you have to have a lot of data. If you don't have a lot of data, and if there are a lot of data gaps, like for example, you might have data for 9 districts, but you would not have data for 3 districts. It doesn't help. There cannot be any blanks in the system. So that is the fact. So I think the first thing that needs to be done is create databases which is complete. And then we can. Right now, the completeness of database is a big problem. But this is the future. It's rapidly within a year or 2 years, this is where it's going to go. So next time when we come here, we'll talk about only AI. Yeah? There are 2-3 types of data. See, there are 2 things. Data security. One is confidentiality of the person of the data giver. That is one thing. There are IRB norms for that. Like for example, if I were to share to you the unit level data, I have to blank out the telephone numbers. I have to blank out the name. I have to blank out the address. By rule, I cannot. Number 1. Number 2 is that Government of India right now well, it's changed now, but they had a rule saying that whatever data generated in India cannot be stored outside of India. That was the strict law, right? But there has been some changes right now. There's some leniency in that. Now it can be housed. Like for example, if Johns Hopkins or Harvard does a project here, they can take the data back to Harvard and analyze. Those things are changing right now. But unit level data cannot have identifiers anymore. So that's the confidential. Identifier means personal identifiers. Let's say if I was to do a project for the Department of Law and I do a survey, right? I cannot necessarily give them the particular details of the name, the phone number, and the address. By law, I cannot share it. That's one thing. Or I can give it to the client, but client can't share it or make it public. Apart from that, data privacy. There are a whole lot of issues with data privacy. Another simple issue of data privacy is access to change data. Like for example, when you will make dashboards and things like that, there are two levels. Number one is the data which is being inputted into the dashboard, and number two is people who are seeing the dashboard. Now you have to get security, you have to be very clear about security clearances. People who are inputting data into the dashboard cannot have security clearance to change the data once it is input. Right. So you can only give that clearance only at a very senior level who can actually go and change the data, but otherwise there will be a lot of data manipulation. So these are the things maybe we can discuss towards the end of the this thing today. It's very session. It's important that you brought it up. It's very important. But those security layers are very clear that giving people access to feed data, but not giving people access to change the data. The changing data can only be at a very senior level. If somebody at an intermediate level finds out a problem and needs to change the data, they'll have to necessarily write. Those login credentials only will lie with the very senior level. Otherwise, the whole thing becomes very suspect. Those are the things that has to be done. Block data gaps. I'll tell you what. That's a very interesting way. One of the simplest ways of filling data gaps is something which even Niti Aayog also uses, and also I mean I have seen this used. You remember that Harvard brought out
the NFHS tracker?
No, the NFHS tracker, but before that they brought out a parliamentary constituency wise tracker and all that. So I read through their document. One of the ways they were filling up data gaps was that suppose they're doing a district level analysis, right? And a particular district does not have data, right? But the surroundings districts have data. So there are two ways that they do this. Number one is that they take the average of the surrounding districts and supplement that data for this district. Another way is that most of the cases district doesn't have data because if it's a relatively new district. So what they do is that that district has been created from 3 districts or 2 districts. So they take the average of those 2 or 3 districts and supplement that. That instruction is given automatically, and that it keeps on supplementing. They might not be a foolproof system, but the fact remains that the more blanks that you have in the system, the problem especially when you do a composite index, if you're doing a composite ranking and all that, it becomes very difficult. Very difficult. I mean, you'll have if there is a lot of gaps, it will give you some very stupid results. I mean, you can have a system where some district from Bihar might be the 3rd best district in the country. It will come like that simply because it had 1 or 2 districts, one or two indicators for which it had good data. Rest of it had blank data. So that's the problem. So now this is the new trend that either do the average of the surrounding districts, and it could be districts, it could be blocks, it could be villages, same logic, surrounding, and then supplement that with the average, or if it is carved out from older districts, then find out the average of the older districts and replace the data from there. That is the trend that is happening right now. There is no other way. There is no other way. See, I can understand the logic why people are saying that. It's saying that this new district, the people have not just landed from the moon, no. They have landed from surrounding areas only. So they are very similar in that. It's not 100% accurate, but even if it is 70-80% accurate, I think it's something which we should be doing. We did a lot of that here. We did not follow the surrounding district average. We, like for example, if there is a district which was built out of 2 other districts in 2014, it's a new district. We took the average of the other 2 districts and
substituted the blank with that average of the old.
But when you bring out that report, you have to write that as a caveat that this is what has been done. Ministry of Rural Development did not. As long as you write it, that it's clear. See, the other alternative is that you can't create the index now. It will be even problematic if suddenly Begusarai becomes the best district in the country, right? So you don't want that. So
expecting any more participants?
No, we start. This is on, right?
Um, should we redistribute so that each team has
Yeah.
at least one laptop? How many laptops do we have as of now? 1, 2, ma'am, you have 3, 4. Here, anyone here?
You
You
can use
have
mine.
5. Okay, we have 6 in all. And how
But
many
we need
persons?
not have to have so many teams. Like today,
Yeah.
there are some 14 people, right? 15 people. So we can have 3 teams.
We can have 3 teams of 5 each. So let's regroup and
Can we redistribute the sitting arrangement based on availability of laptops? You're free to use my laptop. I have no problem. But I'd like to them for sitting together. Yeah, yeah. Because they have to discuss among themselves a lot, you know. My laptop is here. If anybody needs to have, we can do one thing. If we have 4 laptops, including mine, then we can break it into 4 teams also. Let's break it into 4 teams. Yeah. Oh, there are 15 people, right? So we can't break it into 4 teams. So one
one
person
team
please
can
join
come
this team.
here.
One person has to join this team.
One team can come here.
Yes, sit close to a PowerPoint, a plug point.
You have it there. The more laptops in the team, the merrier. But have at least one laptop. I can see at least one laptop there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's go to missionantyodaya.nic.in. We are starting with the first activity for the day, creating sectoral reports from Mission Antyodaya.
So you guys, please log on to the website. First of all, get the if you've logged out, log in back using the passwords, username and password. Just wanted to give you guys an idea of Mission Antodaya. As I said yesterday, it is going on right now, right? Why don't you do 2023 and let me show them. Look at this. This survey was supposed to have finished in 1st of June. Latest, it was supposed to have finished in March. So this is where we are right now. This is where we are right now. The total number of village panchayats are 6.68 lakhs. Field survey completed in 6.61. Survey finalized means it's been uploaded already, 6.8. So about 8,000 are left. 3,000 out of 8,000, about less than 4,000 are in progress. That means there are 4,000 that has not been touched yet. So I want you to look at progress. Come. Click. No. Okay. So let's see. Where is there are 8,000 which are left, right? I know Gujarat has a problem. Where is Gujarat? Come down. Gujarat had a problem, but it has more or less solved the problem. There's just 106 on the ground. Most of it is over. But where is Meghalaya? Kafi baki hai. It's such a small state, but it has over 1,000 villages still. You've got to hurry. You've got to hurry because this whole thing cannot be finished till every last village is finished. So you can see GPs in progress. Out of 3,888, almost about 1/3 is with Meghalaya. No other state has this much left. Let's look at the other four. Manipur has 635 left. Nagaland has 175 left. Mizoram is finished. Tripura is finished. So what we are going to go today, the first half we are going to do is we are going to play with the 2020 data. So when the 2023 data comes in, you will be ready. Right? So we're going to play with the remember 2020 had about 140 indicators, 2023 has a total of 182 indicators. So it's a bigger survey.
So you can log on to Mission Antyodaya 2020, or you can visit this URL, Mission Antyodaya 2020.
Mission Antyodaya 2020.
missionantyodaya.nic.in/MA 2020.
So remember one thing. The raw data that you will be downloading right now is village level data. But village level data will have the state name, it will also have the district name, it will also have the block name, it will have the Gram Panchayat name, and then it will have the village name. Right? We are going to do the analysis at the district level. Okay? Unless you want to do an analysis up to the block level, I am fine with it. But otherwise, we can just do an analysis up to the district level. Now, how will you get district data? District data is very simple. If you will have to filter for each district at a time. In Excel, you will have to have a filter. Let's say you do West Garo Hills as a filter, and then it will give you all the villages and their data for West Garo Hills, right? You have to select an indicator type and you have to add at the back. That will give you the district total for all the villages within that district, and you'll have to note it down separately. Okay? We'll do it together, don't worry.
Okay, I think the Wi-Fi is restored now. Yes? So have we reached till this landing page? Are we all here? Are we here? Team 2? No? Let's go to data download. Please select the state here.
So you will be selecting Meghalaya. Okay? And for district, don't select one district because we want to have all district data. So select all districts. Yeah? They are going to send you the data personally, so it has to be typed in correctly. Yes, we are not. We are select non-commercial after you type in your ID. Yeah, the reason why you're downloading supportive document is that the questionnaire will be there. You need the questionnaire because otherwise you will not be able to make sense of the data. So please go to your email and see whether you have got the link or not. By the time you get the link, you can go to the file that you have downloaded. It's a PDF document of 14 pages. Okay. Now, what I want you to, instead of going through that all of that, let's do the. As I said yesterday, that we have to choose sectors. So there are 3 teams. Each team select a sector. I want one team definitely to select agriculture. So who wants to work on agriculture? So this team is working on agriculture. There is health, there is education, there is poverty alleviation, there is infrastructure. There is infrastructure. So what? If you want to look at the sector, you can go to analytics and you can look at the sectors. You can look at land improvement. Maybe we can have one. Agriculture and land improvement will take. Agriculture, animal husbandry. Animal husbandry we will not do. I mean, we will do primary sector only with agriculture and land improvement. Right. So what do you want to do? Which sector do you want to do? Some of these are very small sectors. The big sectors are education, health. Go to the big sectors. Maybe you can look at the questionnaire that you have downloaded. Okay, so the PDF file that you have downloaded starts with the steps to download the data, and then from page 3 it starts with the questionnaire. Have you seen this? You have just downloaded. You have just downloaded. You can see the questionnaire, right? Yes. So come down. Let's look at agriculture first. Let's start with agriculture. It doesn't have pillar. What do resources?
Okay. Type Mission Antyodaya 2020 questionnaire.
Oh. Listen, the one that you have downloaded is a bit difficult to follow. So type Mission Antyodaya 2020 questionnaire. Type that. Mission Antyodaya 2020 questionnaire.
And follow the second search result. It gives you a PDF. Mission Antyodaya questionnaire in the PDF format is available. So once you download
Mission
that,
Antyodaya 2020 questionnaire.
yes,
the second result.
Second search result. This is a 10-pager PDF that appears, and it has the development sector marked. The one that you downloaded from the Mission Antyodaya website did not have the sector marked in it, but this particular version has it. So if you go down, you can see agriculture, you can see land improvement, you can see animal husbandry. So this is a bit easier to follow. Are you following?
So now someone has to have a pad ready. Some pad ready because some basic writing has to be done. Let me tell you, let's go to agriculture.
You can start looking at what all indicators have been considered in agriculture, what all indicators have been considered under land improvement, what all indicators have been considered under poverty alleviation, and see if you are interested, if as a team you are interested in taking up that sector.
Yeah. So no, I'm going to give agriculture as an example so that they can then by the time which can they decide. Guys, can you take a look? All of you can you take a look? See things like things like number of households engaged majorly in farm activities or number of households engaged majorly in non-farm activities, they are not indicators, right? It is just a status, right? An indicator will be something which will have a numerator and which will have a denominator. Some of these things could be actually a denominator, so we will use it later. This is not the real indicator starts from here for your team, yes, which is the third one, which is when you get the data, the one is availability of government seat centers. That is one indicator. Percentage of, so the indicator could be the percentage of village panchayats in a particular district which has government seat centers. Yes? It's a, have you understood? I mean, this, you'll have village-wise data of yes or no. You'll have to add it up and divide it by the total number of villages to get the percentage. Yes? Clear? That is one indicator. So, if it is not there, if a government seat center is not there, then it asks distance. Now, here you have to decide that, okay, not every village will have a seat center, which is understood. In India, it is not possible. But if there is a village seat center within, let's say, 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer, that is also alright. As a researcher, that is what you have to decide. You know what a village seat center is, right? It's a center where they distribute a high yielding variety of seeds or different seeds for different things, right? So either the village has a seed center, then it's really good, or if the village doesn't have a seed center, then how far is the seed center from that village? So you might decide as a researcher that not every village in India will have a or not every village in Meghalaya will have a seed center. But as long as the seed center is within reasonable distance, it is all right. So you as a researcher will have to decide that do I take up to 2 kilometers as okay, up to 5 kilometers as okay, or up to 1 kilometers as okay. So all the villages which either has yes here, either has yes here, or if it has no, but it is within 2 kilometers, it is still alright. Because the data, what you will get, the data that you will get is for question 9, it will have, in the data set, it will either be 1 or 2. It will either be 1 or 2. For all those people who said 1, there will not be any question, they will not go to this question, because it already says yes, right? For all the people who said no, then there is going to be a distance question. So, you will have to give a, you will have to make a query. Where did it go?
I'll just, I'm opening the data for them so that it's easier for them to follow. Okay, so this was, I'll just open up all the questions. So the question is government seat center available?
You see,
so
there are a few which are ones.
Yeah.
All the ones who said 1 means that it has a government seat center. Yes, clear? So that is the best situation. But you as a researcher, as a team, you have to decide that it is not feasible to think that every village will have a seat center. But as long as the seat center is within reasonable distance, it is good. It is good enough. So you will decide among themselves that what is the distance that you are willing to accept. 2 kilometers, 1 kilometers, 5 kilometers. Suppose you accept 2 kilometers. So all the, just, hang on, take it. You're going too fast.
Oh, sorry.
Alright.
Okay. So I have selected only those geographies that.
Just select both. This is how the data is for you. It will either be saying 2 or there is a few down there which will say 1. So first you will select 1. 1. So these are the villages which already has a seed center. So it's okay. So you will come down all the way down. In fact, you will add the number. Add the number.
These are 185.
So there are, you will note down that there are 185 villages in which district? You have
These
not
are
selected.
all districts.
Achha, no, you have to select a district. No? Select East Garo Hills. Right. Where is it?
Only 2 of them.
Where is it?
Only 2 villages.
Achha, first of all, how many villages are there in East Garo Hills? Remove the filter. So, how many Gram Panchayats are there in East Garo Hills? Just do a total. Huh? Any.
486.
So, this you note down. There are 486 villages, village panchayats in East Garo Hills.
Villages.
That is your base. Okay? That is your base. 486 villages. Yes? Then let's go to that question. Seed centers. Government seed centers. Yes? Out of these 486 villages, how many villages had seed centers? You select 1. Only 2. You can see only 2 has seed centers. Now, as researchers or data people, you are going to have to decide that, okay, I know 2 had seed centers, but if the other villages have a seed center within a reasonable distance, I will call it okay, because it is not possible for the government to set up seed centers in every village. They are not supposed to. One seed center is supposed to cater to several villages. Yes? One seed center would be there for 5 villages. So, you decide what is a reasonable distance that you are willing to accept. Suppose you accept 2 kilometers, or do you want to say 5 kilometers? What is it you want to accept? What is it? You have to decide. Anybody? What is you know your state better than I know your state, yeah? What is a reasonable distance that you are willing to accept? 5 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 1 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers? Okay, fine. So, you are saying that you are willing to accept 5 kilometers. So, you have to go back here, look at all the details for those who did not have a center.
So, you select 2.
Select 2. So, these are all the remaining ones. Go to W and click. Go to W and click.
Yeah, W I have selected 2.
No, I'm not saying that. Go up there and see. Yeah. So the count is 485 minus 1, 484, right? You had 486, 2 are already there which has a center, so 484 are left which does not have a center. Now you go into the distance criteria. Go to the questionnaire. What does it say? If it is coded 1, it is less than 1 kilometer. If it is coded 2, it is less than 2 kilometers. If it is coded 3, it is less than 2.5 kilometers, 2 to 5 kilometers. If it is, or less than 5 kilometers. If it is coded uh, 5 to 10 kilometers. If it is coded 5, it is more than 10 kilometers. You have, as a group, you have just decided, what did you decide? That I am willing to accept 5 kilometers as the limit. Yes? So, up to 5 kilometers is
Option
coded.
1, 2, 3.
Yes, it is either 3 or 2 or 1. 3, 2 or 1. Right? So, you are filtering 1, 2 and 3 here. So, how many villages are there?
27.
Which is within 5 kilometers? 27. So 27 plus 2, 29 are the total number of villages that you have, which either have a village seed center or it has a village seed center within 5 kilometers. Yes? So what is the percentage? 27 plus 2 is 29 divided by 486. So what is the percentage? Someone tell me. Someone do the maths.
You can use a calculator.
Yeah. 486 villages, no? Divided by the total number of
29 by 486.
29 villages which has a seed center either located within or within 5 kilometers. 6%. So for East Garo Hill, what is your indicator value? We are doing all of this to make one indicator, no? This divided by this is an indicator. So for East Garo Hills, the value is 6%. Note it down. You can do it for all the other districts here, right? You will do it for all the other districts. Let me just give you another quick example. Let's go to another district. Let's go to another district. Go to here. Let's select another one in Garo. Let's select Ribhoi. Okay, we'll go to Ribhoi. There are 579 villages in Ribhoi. Alright, so write that down. Write that down. There are 570. There were 486 in East Garo. There are 579. 579 is your base. Out of 579, how many villages have a seed center? How will you go? How will you do? You will go to that indicator and select 1. So how many? 23 out of 579 has a seed center. Isme kitna tha? 2. Now you have got 29 here in Ribhoi, right? 23 in Ribhoi, right? How many of them are within 5 kilometer distance? So you come back here, deselect 1 and select 2, because if you don't select 2, you will not go to the next distance question. And within the distance, you select 1, 2 and 3. How much is it? 61. So 61 plus 23 is the total number of villages in Ribhoi which either has the center within Ribhoi or within the village or within 5 kilometers, right? What is the percentage? So at least as far as this indicator is concerned, Ribhoi was far better than A. So this is for each indicator you will do for all districts, right? And then for several indicators, we are going to several indicators. So please get started, right? We are all here as resource. Anything you can do. This is the trick. Boss, please understand when you work on a database like this, the trick is how do you filter. Remember, first you were filtering 1 and 2. You were selecting 1 to find out how many people are there. It's exactly, the questionnaire will tell you what to do. The questionnaire said, does your village have a center? seat center, and the answer was yes is 1 and no is 2, right? So you have to first select 1 to find out how many which has seat center. So you've filled that in and you've noted that. Then you remove that filter, and now you want to look at those who do not have. You want to go and look at the distance. So then you have to select for the 2, because if only for people who have coded 2 will they answer the next question. No, if they have answered 1, there is no question of distance. They will not answer that question. So that's how we will go. So for every indicator, please feel free to ask any question. Team 1, team 2, team 3. So team 2 and team 3 has not even told us the sector that you want to work on. Which one? Wonderful. Poverty alleviation. Go to the questionnaire and tell me how many indicators are there in poverty alleviation. Do it for the next. Go do it for the next district. Go and work with them individually. First select the district. First remove all the filters. Can we just Manmeet? It's quite slow. If you have the data downloaded, can we mail it to them? Oh, acha. Oh no, it's come. It has come. Wait. Open window. It's still downloading. Have all of you received the data in your emails? Have you received the data in your email? Let poverty alleviation team. Number of SHGs is not an indicator, but it is a denominator. I'll tell you why. Here you've got number of SHGs which has accessed bank loan. So it will give you a number of SHGs which has accessed bank loan. That will be the numerator. What will be the denominator? This. So this value divided by this value into 100 is going to give you the percentage, is going to give you the indicator. Right. So this is something which you will use to generate another indicator. This is not an indicator in itself. Okay. So this by this is one indicator. Number of households mobilized into producer groups. Producer groups are only for farming. Go up. Achha, sorry. So number of households mobilized into producer groups are for farmers. So this itself is not an indicator. What is the indicator? Yes. This is the total number of households who are engaged in farming, total number of households which have been organized into producer groups. So that divided by this will give you the indicator. Right, because otherwise it's just a number. You have to change it into some percentage, no? So lot of the data earlier has to be used even down there. So first what you need to do is that you have to, in my view, you have to discuss among yourselves and identify the exact indicator, the construct of the indicator. What is the numerator? What is the denominator? Right? You construct that and then start into the look into the database. Have you received the database in your email? Fantastic. Not 82 because it takes the first one also, so you have to subtract the first one also. Less than 1 kilometer is 1, 1 to 2 kilometers is 3, 2 to 5 kilometers is 3, right? We said 5 kilometers, so it can be either 3 or 2 or 1. So that's why I selected 1. 2, and 3. 4 and 5 is all beyond 5 kilometers. We are not selecting that. Right? There's also given the values which they are used to construct the indicator. That is not required. The main things are the yellow one, right? So what you have to do for each one of you is in Excel sheet, you have to create district name and you have to give the name of the indicators and write down the values of the indicator. Yes? This is what we are going to do, and then we are going to break for lunch. Next, when we come back, we are going to do the more exciting thing.